The thing I walk away from is that he's not Tom Hardy. He looks like Tom Hardy. He's not Tom Hardy. And like, yeah, you call him Tom Hardly. and see him in this movie, he really establishes himself as, no, this is Logan Marshall Green.
It might be a help if he looks like Tom Hardy. Confuse a few people out there. You know, some people this weekend, they're going to talk about, man, let's go see that Tom Hardy movie. And you know somebody going to be sitting in the theater and be like, how do I tell this stupid motherfucker this is not Tom Hardy?
I don't mind. I like it.
You told us you were Tom Hardy, but you want these checks written out to who?
I'm so tired, man. I can't.
Let's just do this.
We're going to get this over with. The only thing that keeps me awake is the thought of those nice shirts over at dtmerch.com. The hats, the beanies, the backpacks, the phone covers. We just got through telling this story with me driving pretty much for 24 hours straight. Well, I drove 6 hours, but it feels like 24 hours. I haven't slept in 24 hours. I don't feel like playing around. I don't feel like fucking with y'all right now. So I'm just going to tell you at this very moment, I ain't teasing. I ain't trying to create any kind of cliffhanger for you, anything. I saw this movie, which is probably one of my favorite movies this summer. When I say one of them, I'm talking about like in my top 5.
Adrift.
Yes. Adrift is right up there, and Drift is slowly to number 1 the more I think about it.
Okay.
But a very close second behind Adrift is this movie Upgrade. One about that man who gets some enhancements and he's out for revenge, but just so happens that this computer chip in the back of his neck takes over when he's the most in trouble and makes him some sort of quick flexed, reflexed Superman, some bionic dude. And we were talking about how the trailer looks pretty cool. Great camera work. Some really cool visuals. And the story looks very intriguing. And I say that it kind of lived up to that. But did it live up to that more, Mr. Coleman? Well, you know what? Let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer as a refresher right here. And Martin, now you saw this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Martin
sure
and I
did.
would be back with our review. Man, I saw this trailer, and this is one of the movies I was dying to see. And when I finally saw the movie, and I walked out, I really did, man. I got out the movie, and I went to my car. I didn't want anybody to see me. I just let the windows up, and I was like, yes! God damn it, yes! Somebody's trying to do something a little bit different while also entertaining me. And what I mean by different is, listen, I'm not one of these hipsters out there that's talking about, all these superheroes and blockbusters and CG. But I'm going to say all these superheroes and blockbusters and CG, man. This has been, every summer. Every summer has been giving us more and more movies. The pipes have been getting clogged with these films.
More money, bigger.
All of it's bigger. I mean, it's something you're going to get no bigger than Infinity War. And while it worked, it was one of those movies where they were just slopping us with CG. I mean, nothing wrong with that. It served its purpose in the film, but it's just, it wasn't done yet. The next week we had Deadpool, then after that we jumped on the Millennium Falcon, and it was we just getting beat down. I mean, I'm just getting knocked in my head every week with CG, and I'm looking at this. And what I like about it is that this is a movie that came out and said, man, we don't need all that money.
This is Blumhouse.
Yeah, Blumhouse.
Yeah, this is Blumhouse. So first of all, he ain't going to give us that much money.
Jason Blum says, here's $5, figure it out.
And I have to say, this is the most amazing $5 movie I've ever seen right here. No, it really is. And I think the movie cost more than the average Blumhouse film. Maybe, I don't know, but I think what happened was Blumhouse acquired the movie.
That's what I was thinking. It was probably one that was already done, and they acquired it.
But still, it's certainly not Disney money. It ain't Fox money.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, man, it's refreshing to see like, oh yeah, that's what people can do with a small budget.
Yes.
If they just spend the time to actually work on it.
And be creative.
Yeah, be creative. And something that's not based on a licensed property. It's not a remake of anything. It doesn't have a comic book tie-in.
Nothing.
It's not a prequel. It's not a sequel. There doesn't need to be any more of these.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that feeling of it's familiar and yet you don't know what's going to happen next.
That's exactly it. Now, y'all know how my mind works. You know, I know I'm dirty, but I look at these blockbusters like I love Infinity War, but Infinity War is like having rough sex. You know, I can do this all night, but God damn it, I need a break. You know, just let me breathe for a little bit.
Be sore in the morning.
Yeah, can we cuddle a little bit? No. Can we make out for a little while? Upgrade is that cuddle. It's just a movie where I can sit back, I can take a break, and I can admire this movie because they are giving us a smaller film, but they are entertaining me just like any blockbuster out there.
Yeah.
When I look at this, I admire the creativity that's going on in this movie. They're like, listen, this is the movie where the budget's going to make us be more creative. You know what? We don't have like a rendering farm of 2,000 supercomputers, but I got a dude that knows how to work the camera real nice. Right. I got a guy who knows how to make some really nice choreographed fight scenes. They got creative with these things that other people take for granted in other movies.
Well, also with that, they're able to make it in like not the distant future, but a future that's close, that seems relative to where we are now. They're using technology that's just above what we have going on. And
feasible.
Yeah. And like that city is the most futuristic that you see out there. That's outside of what we see now. Everything else is mostly drones and cybernetics.
Yeah.
And stuff you can see where, yes, I can see this being the evolution of things in 20 years.
Exactly, man. Sometimes, I mean, look, if you got the money, spend it. Ain't nobody going to stop you. But I look at some of these studios and I think, man, you were giving the audience too much. You giving them too much CG. You giving them too much credit. Because what this movie does, a lot of times, human beings are stupid, man. A lot of times, all you got to do is show, like, what this movie did. It said, look at this picture right here. The future. and we filled in the blank for the rest of it.
Right.
The rest of this movie, they shot in alleys. They shot, man.
It looked like Detroit.
Man, they
This is RoboCop.
Yeah. They shot in the hood,
Yeah.
But somehow we thought, oh, the future. Wow, this is awesome, man. There's so much money in this. No, they showed you one thing that they did on a laptop probably, and it made it look good, and we filled in the blanks with our minds. That's the creative approach that this movie has taken. It's not because I'm just looking at this movie, because yes, I do love a movie with gore. I do, but I don't like gore when it's used exploitive, when it's used excessive.
Sure.
The gore in this seemed to be used in conjunction with the story.
It's not like Saw.
No, even though one of the guys that created Saw is behind this, it's not like that.
And with gore, sometimes you get something like Saw, but then more often you get something that just kind of is suggestive.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, man, if you're going to have something like that, but just soften it so much to where it's almost like G.I. Joe, you're kind of doing a disservice to what's actually happening.
Yeah.
And this finds that sweet spot to where they aren't lingering on it, but it is enough for you to go, oh man, this is serious.
Well, what's kind of pissing me off with some critics who even like praising this film? They're saying, "Oh, get ready for an action-packed gore fest ride." It is not a gore fest.
No, it's not that.
They try to make it sound like this guy's just going through the whole movie turning people into Muppets, man. It's not.
No.
It's not that. I would even go as far to say the amount of gore that you see in this trailer is probably the extent of it. There's not a whole lot more outside of that. Or maybe I'm forgetting something.
I think you're forgetting something.
Okay, I'm tired.
But it's not the people who love gore. I wouldn't say this is a movie you got to see.
Yeah.
It won't satisfy your bloodlust.
And the gore that's in the movie, it's on it's creative. Not only is it used in a way where it's well choreographed, and when they do the gore and they go right into it, it looks impressive. I'm not gonna lie, that they split that dude's mouth. I was like, you know what? They sold me with that. But the thing that they do with the rest of the violence and the gore in the movie, they go into territories like Sam Raimi. It's so creative that it's almost comical. When we see this scene right here, where our hero is knocking people over the head with plates and has no control over it, I immediately thought of Sam Raimi.
Sure.
You know, Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell and how he would do things. You know, some of the same gags, you know. And this guy, the whole time, this actor that we have here, Logan Marshall Green, almost seemed to, from Evil Dead, seemed to like capture the spirit of Bruce Campbell in a way. And that's what I love about this actor, man. This actor.
Is it Logan Marshall or Marshall Logan?
Logan Marshall Green is
okay.
At least what I have written down. So we're gonna go.
I'm not sure. It's not me trying to correct you. I'm just with those kind of names.
But they chose. And look, you're gonna be like, man, okay, quit kissing this movie's ass. But you got to understand, for a movie that is as small as this, they took every step to get the best out of what they could, including their main actor. Logan Marshall Green here. This is a guy, he did an amazing job because he has to do comedy, he has to do physical humor, he has to do physical tragedy. He makes us laugh, but we have to remain sympathetic with the guy while also watching him be another character, almost another creature.
Yeah.
And all of that has to work seamlessly. At every moment, it can't just come to a halt. We have to like see these things intertwine with each other and go into each other without giving it a second thought.
Yeah, and the parts, the small parts, I've seen this guy in several times. It's always the thing I walk away from is that he's not Tom Hardy. He looks like Tom Hardy. He's not Tom Hardy. And like, yeah, you call him Tom Hardly. And see him in this movie, he really establishes himself as, no, this is Logan Marshall Green. This guy has chops that I never would have suspected that he has.
Although I'm sure the director said, it might be a help if he looks like Tom Hardy. Confuse a few people out there.
Well, I'm sure this was made before Venom was a thing.
He's just trying to get them ignorant ass people like, man, that's Tom Hardy, man. You know, some people this weekend they went talking about, man, let's go see that Tom Hardy movie. And you know somebody gonna be sitting in the theater and be like, how do I tell this stupid motherfucker this is not Tom Hardy?
I don't mind. I like it.
Yeah, just let him live his dream.
You told us you were Tom Hardy, but you want these checks written out to who?
He's my executive. Chill.
Yeah, you know, and you know, it's not a straight revenge story either, because that's what it looks like. It looks like, oh, another guy who had his chick killed, and now he's going out to get revenge on that. That's kind of the beginning of it. When that guy goes out on his mission, things turn very wrong for him, more than what we see, because he looks like he has the upper hand here. There are so many twists with what's going on with this guy that the revenge story that they're selling here, I can tell you, if you think that's the most of it, you're going to be getting a lot for your money, because that's not the only thing happening.
Well, I think also with that scene where he splits the guy's mouth in half, it's important in as much as it's not gore just for the sake of it, because up to that point, you kind of think, well, that might be cool to have that stem thing that could help you in these situations. And then you realize it can do something like that. That amps up, you know, the level of tension, like, oh yeah, man, this might not be good at all.
Yeah.
And that changes the whole flavor of the story.
Yeah.
And then it goes from there to where it gets so deep. A movie this reminds me of a lot is RoboCop. In as much as, you know, you have the big violent act and the guy is, you know, cybernetically altered, not necessarily to, you know, his own specifications. But RoboCop was also, from the trailers, it looked like, okay, this is going to be kind of a B movie, you know, just a grindhouse kind of shoot 'em up.
Yeah.
And then you watch it, and you're like, oh wait, this is a lot smarter than I ever thought it was going to be when I got in. It's not even the movie I thought it was going to be, and this is that also.
Yeah. And you know something. At one time it was going to be called STEM, because STEM is the other character that's pretty much unseen, only heard throughout the movie. It's the chip that's in his that's implanted in his neck, and only he can hear him. And you know the funny thing about STEM and this character that we have in the movie, at times they are almost like a comedy duo. You got one that, like, the microchip is the straight man, and then this guy right here, the human being, is the goofball, except he doesn't even realize that, right? You know, and when it just becomes so funny because this guy, he's already got it bad, man. I mean, I feel bad for this character in this movie because he didn't ask for none of this. He is not an asshole. He's that guy that's minding his own business. Yeah. He wants no trouble. He wants to live a simple life. And this thing in his head is putting him through the ringer, man. And I'm talking about the guy has even before the thing is implanted in his head, God just does not like this guy. God looked at like this dude's bothered nobody, and God just looked at him and said, "You know what? I just hate your face, man."
So this is your story today.
This is my story. Yeah, believe me, I can relate. This is what I went through today. And throughout the movie, this guy's life gets torn more apart. He loses more freedoms. He loses more of his body. And once things look like it's about to be on the up and up for him,
Yeah.
I mean, he's thrown in the walls. He's having to climb steps with only his arm.
There's a big conspiracy going on.
Yeah. I mean, everything is just piling up against this guy, and you really do feel bad for him. He's like, man, this dude don't deserve this. I mean, I'm glad he's getting it because it's entertaining for me to watch. But I feel for him. I really do.
Yeah, can he catch a break?
And he doesn't, man. I mean, they really do give you a guy that you feel bad for. Even when he seems at his most triumphant, his most superhero-like, it's still with him coming out the loser somehow most of the time, which doesn't sound as bad as I'm saying. It does add a lot to the story, and it does make you feel for this character because it would be so easy just to go in and make this character a badass.
And it's a really well-paced movie that still has a lot of character to it.
Yeah, and it has a great pace. Like I said, it just keeps building on story. Things that you will not expect in this happen. Some of you gonna come out and be like, I saw that shit. Come, shut the fuck up. You didn't see that.
You goddamn well.
You always got that one person. Like, how do we know? Oh, I can't wait to invent that device that just causes bullshit on your mind. Well, I saw it coming. Hook yourself up to, hey, man. I didn't see
Why are you going to do
everything.
that?
Yeah, if I had any complaints with this, villains are not that much in the movie. They try to, the villains are nothing. I've used this analogy before, the characters before. The villains are just the action figures, man. They got cool things, and they got guns for hands.
So it kind of takes that same route that Hardcore Henry took. Like the villains are like there, and some of them got cool powers, and some of them are like a certain.
It actually did
thing.
remind me of Hardcore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They do a lot of cool things. It's this kind of world where these a lot of people are they're becoming more enhanced. It's like Ghost in the Shell. These people are getting enhancements, and it sounds like it's cool, but that's another thing this movie does well. People are able now to pay for these enhancements that make them into super beings, but it looks horrifying. This future looks horrifying. And
it's one of those, it sneaks up on you. You can see this is a future that sneaks up on you.
Yeah. And they try to make some of the villains like big guys, the big nemesis that you have to have the big showdown with, and I would just say you just don't ever know enough about these villains to really see them as
You don't,
something
but
you
I
hate.
think it serves the purpose.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. It could work both ways, and I think also that the Leonardo DiCaprio clone.
Yeah, I know. We found another one.
Yeah,
there he is.
Like Leonardo DiCaprio just leaving his sperm everywhere.
I know.
People just scraping that shit up, man. I don't even know how they get these dudes' names. Like this dude's name is Harris Gilbert. So I was like, no, you Leo number 26.
There's got to be a lab somewhere.
Yeah. The clones of Leo. I think this actor. I don't know anything about this actor. I don't even know if I've ever seen him before. I know that his character is written kind of flat, kind of one note. They wrote it for a reason, but again, it's nothing that makes it intriguing for me at all. How'd you feel about this character?
It's one where I thought he was okay until later, and then I was like, oh no, I get it, and I think he's good.
Yeah. There's certain things here where you can come out and say, well, that wasn't too much, but you know what, it worked for the bigger part of the story. And sometimes what they do in the future, it's some of it really is like, for as much as I'm praising it for being this dirty looking version of the future, which is actually horrifying because it does feel real. I do some things that we see all the time in other science fiction movies, like when people hook themselves up to VR. When people hook themselves, like in this movie. In other movies, every time somebody hooks themselves up to VR, everybody goes that same rave, be doing that shit. I don't ever see nobody line dancing or doing electric slide. Everybody's always doing this shit, and they have that in the movie too. And I thought, all right, thank God that's a small part, but that's a cliche in itself. However, the director here, who I didn't even know this guy was Australian. Lee Wynell, I believe, is his name. He was in Saw.
Yeah.
He was like one of the creators of Saw.
Right.
Co-writers, if I'm correct. As far as doing a directing job with this. As far as even the story goes, I think he did an amazing job with this. Again, for the resources that he had. A lot of people, because we think today, man, we can make comedies on the cheap. We can make dramas on the cheap. You know, there are people out there making thrillers on the iPhones now.
Yeah.
But this shows that you can really make a futuristic, blockbuster feeling type action film, and you don't have to spend that much money on it. In fact, if you don't, then you're probably going to be more creative.
Yeah.
And while we talk about Blumhouse being cheap, a lot of times he forces his directors and writers to actually be more creative than the average film.
Yeah, they can't just go around saying, "Oh, we'll fix it in post."
Yeah. You know, I don't know, man. Like I said, I've been up for 24 hours, so this movie might be a piece of shit. But while I'm delirious right now, this movie, I don't want to go as far as to give it better than Sex, because, like I said, there are some flaws in here. But damn, for personal reasons, I really do respect movies that work with what they have and don't ask for more, and then go off and make something mundane just like everybody else. This is damn near up there for better than Sex for me. But for right now, it is a full price. What about you?
You're kind of crazy, but no, the movie definitely hovers around a full price for the first two acts, and there is that, like, this is so cool, but where's it going to go? And as it jumps into the third act, it's like, all right, well, I guess ultimately it's a matinee, until it turns a corner and it's like, nope, this is a high full price.
Yeah. I mean, what they did with the end of it, I was
Yeah.
like, man, this could have. You know, there are certain things that a lot of movies try when they trying to be clever. And I just saw one yesterday that failed, but but this one was able to pull that off.
No, it's nice to get something that feels original. It makes me sad because watching this, I realize, like, man, we used to have a lot of these on the landscape, and we just don't get much of them anymore. Nobody takes that chance, and it's nice that this could come out and work so well.
If I may share, where's my pipe at? If I may share a theory with you, Mr. Thomas. No, I think what's going on, it's not even part of the movie, but I think why this seems like it's something that's rare for us is because, you hear a lot of people talking about how the theatrical release of movies are, and now today you get your tentpole blockbuster superhero films and sci-fi films and and sequels and properties and fantasy movies, and then on the lower end you get your low budget comedies and romantic films or whatnot. I think people just don't think about a movie like this because they think immediately to do something that's sci-fi like this is going to take a lot of money.
Right.
We're not going to be able to do this on the low end. We're not going to be able to do it in the middle. And that's not the case, man. We see a movie that's right up there with some, best science fiction can be produced on a small budget with impressive visuals if the director really knows what they're doing with it. So that's why I love this.
So Blumhouse knocked it out the park. You excited for Spawn now?
No.
All right, fair enough.
Hell no. But,
I also feel like watching this that Venom has a lot to live up to now.
Oh, it really does. Venom got, people gonna come back. You mark my words.
Mark them.
Mark them right now. Get your pen out. Get that pen. Mark that shit. Mark my words. People gonna come out and damn, Venom had all that money. They had the real Tom Hardy, and they still couldn't do what this movie did right there. Those movies look so similar. And hey, fuck it. If nobody says it, I'll come back and say it. I love Venom, but
Tom Hardy gonna be sitting in the theater, man. You good in this? Shit.
That'd be
Go
funny.
see Venom.
That'd be funny. That was Tom Hardy's cousin. He just follow around and getting jobs that he can't go scratch. Yeah.